So I'm Dr. Tasos Varoudis. I'm part of the Bartlett School of Architecture, and my specialization is machine learning and data analytics. So yeah, blockchain is here to stay. Maybe not in its current form, but I think every industry will have like a bit of an evolution to the current state of the blockchain. And that will be the one that succeed. It might be, every industry, especially in technology, changes little things that might make the life easier for people that work on that sector. Blockchain for me is not just the technology, it's the idea. And I think it's going to be prevalent in pretty much every sector. I'll avoid like talking about finance and the economics, let's say. It's already pretty saturated. But I think definitely the built environment, health, even agriculture. So every sector for pretty much same but also different reasons will be kind of affected positively. My interest lies more on the social and let's say the human factor, and especially the built environment. So I would like to focus on that. So changes in that sector, they're going to be beneficial, I think, because of different parts of even government, local government, and businesses will start growing a sense of collaboration and a verified ethic, if I may say, because of the way that blockchain works and the way that every transaction is validated, even cross-validated, is shared, and there is also the idea of the share ownership of that thing. So every single part wants to be part of this kind of a mechanism. It's like a watch mechanism. So I think, I would like to focus on that. But there are like other sectors. Definitely, we've seen the results in finance and economics with digital currencies. The focus nowadays and kind of the global trend is in data and machine learning at the moment. And blockchain is something that will disrupt this because it's a collection of data, distributed, validated, in a way cleaned, and in the next let's say 5 to 10. I don't know. I mean, the 20 is quite a large kind of time frame, long time frame. So I think in the next 5 to 10 years, the ability to have a number of blockchains in different sectors, let's say of built environment. So every area has its own blockchain. There is a crosstalk between them, a cross-validation. And one of the most kind of important things in the blockchain is the long and stable history, data history, of course. So this is gonna give a huge boost, especially to the analytics kind of people like the ones we are here. I think the challenges come from the fact that we are all afraid of being kind of constantly monitored and validated in our everyday work transactions. So I think initially there will be a bit of a kind of a learning period for a lot of sectors, like especially manufacturing, delivery, and the last let's say parts of the construction chain. But I think over time every sector will find that you can minimize costs and time if you follow certain kind of certain good, let's say, kind of attributes that the blockchain can give you, and ideas behind it. And if you implement it based on your sector's specific needs. As a group that specializes in kind of data analytics and spatial data analytics, I think having the power to go through information, harvest, go through, and also kind of clean and filter information is going to make our work a bit easier and also a bit more productive and a bit more targeted. So this is probably the biggest kind of positive and plus, is that we could have like a more targeted and let's say better influence in certain areas. Of course, coming from the Bartolo School of Architecture in government or town planning or city planning and transport infrastructure as well. If I could find a couple of negatives, is that there should be kind of, and there will be, a period that the trust and the validation process might be a bit grayish, because not everyone is up to the task or let's say knowledgeable of all the little things that you have to follow. It's a recipe. I mean, blockchain is a recipe. You need to follow certain steps. So, as every new technology in a way, it starts with a bit of a kind of a gray area, and then, as I think, unfolds to something useful. And there is a lot of potential in blockchain. I think the risks are a bit more global. They're based on kind of the core functions and ideas in the blockchain. I think it's mainly part of the distributed sense and the control that can, in certain architectures, of course, the control can change based on kind of flooding the network with certain types of workers or validators. I think the way every year we see kind of a new evolution of this model. So most of the problems that the early and very well-known blockchain projects had and still have, actually, and we had a lot of ups and downs, I think most of them are in a way patched. So it's all about security. It's about data security in the end. We're talking about a cryptographic chain, but there are limitations in cryptography as well. And the control, I think, especially for built environment and sensitive data and assets that have also, I mean, the special thing with built environment is that we're talking about physical assets having a virtual entity, a virtual exchange and a virtual ownership, if we start talking about the ownership of this building being part of a blockchain. So that connection between physical and real is not like a coin, it's more like a dollar. So that connection needs a bit more thinking when you distribute it. And the network's internet is global. So a network is global, but some assets are fairly not only local but restricted. Yeah. Okay, so that's where I think it needs a bit more attention. And if I can speak with my kind of computer science hat, I don't know. I think generally I think that the initiatives like this and being in academia for so long and seeing like projects that have evolved through a relationship between the Bartlett School of Architecture or UCL in general and government bodies or the government itself or ministries, I think the change has to come from within, in a way, the government and also the legislation, with and in communication, let's say, or collaboration with research and academia. That's my view.